Katrina coverage continues here on the Weather Channel, Hurricane Central.
Hurricane Katrina, now a Category 2 storm, expected to strengthen to a 3 or 4 before landfall. Question is, when will that happen? We've got more continuing coverage on the hurricane beginning right now.
As South Florida recovers, we are bracing for another round of wind and rain from Hurricane Katrina. Hello and welcome to this special edition of PM Edition. I'm Carl Parker.
And I'm Jennifer Lopez. Katrina, again, now a Category 2 hurricane, and as it moves across the Gulf of Mexico or out into the Gulf, it is looking to really gain some strength here and could be doing widespread damage as it moves northward into the northern Gulf. But right now, the closest land is the Keys, and it is continuing to get the Keys are continuing to get very heavy rainfall. We have had a wind gust at the Dry Tortugas up to around over 90 miles an hour, so the winds are extremely strong, even far away from this system.
Let's take a look at where this system is going right now. It should continue along towards the west, then turn more towards the northwest, and then towards the northern Gulf of Mexico. And the swath that we have is shifted a little bit farther along towards the west now, so we have brought in the eastern part of Louisiana. Let's take a look at that swath for you right now, and you can see that movement again towards the northwest and towards the north. So now we're including the Florida Panhandle, southern parts of Alabama and Mississippi, and eastern Louisiana. That's because we've continued to see that westward movement. So a lot of folks here in the northern Gulf really need to be aware of the possibility of this thing moving in. Could be a very strong hurricane, and now is the time to get prepared. If you're living in the northern Gulf Coast, you want to start working on your preparations right now. We've already seen what Katrina has done as a Category 1 hurricane. Falling trees and car accidents have killed at least 7 people. Roofs were ripped off buildings in Miami, and a large commercial jet was pushed off the runway. Flooding continues to be a huge concern. The Miami area seeing in excess of 10 to 15 inches of rain.
And we can't stress it enough. This is the time to get prepared across the northern Gulf of Mexico. Katrina is expected to move into the area early Monday. Prepare for your evacuation route. Get the disaster kits prepared. Make sure you try to fill up the gas tank and move all the furniture outside indoors, because that definitely can blow around with the strong winds.
And there is some good news. The Coast Guard saying a family lost at sea in the Gulf is now found safe and sound. Well, we've got crews across Florida tracking Katrina. Mike Seidel joins us now live from Marco Island in southwest Florida.
And Mike, how has the area fared as Katrina has moved across?
Well, they've done amazingly well because Katrina made that left turn about this time yesterday and spared this area the excessive rainfall we had anticipated. As a result, we got a few rain bands, wind gusts 45, 50, 55 miles an hour. That is about it, and just sporadic power outages. On the other side of the state, it's a whole different story. Let me take you over to Pompano Beach. This is on the East Coast in Broward County, and you probably know what happened over there this time yesterday. Hurricane-force wind gusts topping out over 90 miles an hour. In Fort Lauderdale alone, just south of Broward, just south of Pompano, we had wind gusts to hurricane force, 75 miles an hour. Trees down everywhere because you combine heavy rain and strong winds. That's the perfect prescription for trees being blown down on power lines. So right now, we're still looking at 1.1 million customers without power. Florida Power and Light has brought in 4,000 out-of-state contractors to help get the power back on, and you know they're doing it as quickly as possible. As far as costliest hurricanes, we look back to last year. 3 out of the top 4 costliest hurricanes on record were last year. Look at that. Behind Andrew, which hit on 24th of August in 92, we've got Charlie, Ivan, and Francis. Wow, what a year. And then Hugo back in 89, which slammed into Charleston. Eventually, inland did a lot of damage around Charlotte, North Carolina. So we want to keep this in mind. Even after Katrina makes another landfall, expected on Monday, it's going to move inland with heavy rainfall, the risk of tornadoes, and very strong winds, much like we saw in Atlanta with Opal. So again, inland areas right up the East Coast. Keep an eye on this one Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. In the meantime, we'll track it for you before it makes landfall throughout the weekend. This is the time, as Carl said, to be prepared. Carl, back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. And let's take a look at what's going on with the system right now. Winds now gusting to 43 miles an hour here in Key West. Boy, it has really been a rough day in the Keys. We've had winds gusting over 60 miles an hour for the better part of the day in Key West. A lot of very heavy rain, several inches of rain. The system now just slowly working along towards the west here. That rain is still coming down in the lower Keys and in the dry Tortugas here. A little bit closer to the center, we have sustained winds at 82 miles an hour, winds gusting to 97 miles an hour. So this storm really does mean business. Let's talk about some of the advisories here, and we still do have tropical storm warnings in effect through the western part of Florida, southwestern Florida. Again, we do expect that it's going to move away from western Florida and continue along towards the north and towards the west, and then make more of a turn towards the north. Again, there are your warnings here. Tropical watch as we get up into the Tampa area, tropical storm warnings through the Keys and southwest Florida. So again, where's this thing going? Well, we have a ridge in place right now that is directing it westward. We think that ridge is going to move away. That will allow the system to take more of a turn towards the northwest and then up towards the north. And that's when things get very interesting. At this point, we are shifting that path a little bit farther towards the west. It had been more towards the Florida Panhandle, but it's now a little farther westward here, including parts of Louisiana and southern Mississippi. So a lot of folks here really need to watch this thing very carefully. Start thinking about what you need to do now across the northern Gulf Coast. Jennifer?
Our team coverage of Hurricane Katrina continues in a minute. We are really concerned about flooding from this storm, and our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes, will join us to explain why more rain could be really leaving behind a mess.